So to be able to understand the constructor properly, I will just create a small example, and then we will create a constructor for our resource param. Because for authenticator, we want all of the fields from the user. So we don't need to create our own constructor for the authenticator. But for the resource param, some of the field can be optional and some of the field can be mandatory. So we will add new constructor for the resource param. And to start coding, I will first activate my current environment. So it's activate dot, and then I will create a struct called person. And that part of the coding you don't need to follow. You just can have a look. This code is not going to add in future, like in the package. So that person can have first name, which is string, and then can have last name, string, and then gender, which is also string. We can create that struct. Now we can create a value of that struct. I can write me, and then it's a person type, and it's data psycho, and the gender is M for male. Now we can create the value of that struct. So now one important thing is to do, there is a handy function called methods. So if we implement that function methods on that person struct, I'll just go a little bit down and then we'll run it. So we can see, like, to create that value of the type, it's in the underneath, it's use a function, and which has these parameters or arguments: first name, last name, and gender, string, string, string. But what if we want to have the gender as optional? If they don't want, they won't provide that. To be able to do that, we have to create a constructor. And how we create that? We need to write person, and then provide the mandatory one, which is first name, and then another mandatory, which is last name, and then if it's not mandatory, we can put that as a keyword. So here we are using some concept from the function and keyword arguments in the function. So if you're not comfortable with that, you should have a look on the appendix section, the function part of the video, and there will be gender, and then that will be the new keyword create that constructor. So first name, last name, gender, and as gender is a keyword, we can fix that. By default it will be nothing. Now we can restart our Julia REPL. Control J, Control K, Control J, Control C, and press enter. It will take a bit time to... I restarted that because I wanted to show you one important thing. When you create your constructor, the default constructor goes away, so we need to check that. I wanted to show you that. I will activate that environment, and if I redefine that, it's taking a bit time. Well, it took a while. If I now run the methods on that, I can see there's only one method: first name, last name, and gender, which is gender as a keyword. And without providing any constructor. There was always the default constructor, but when you define your own constructor, the default constructor goes away. So if you want your default constructor, you need to define that again under the or above the new constructor. So I can define that new constructor, and in that everything is mandatory, and I can rerun that. Now if I check the method, it should show me two methods, and here it is. So there is one method which everything is mandatory, and another methods where the first two arguments are mandatory, and the third one is optional. Now we can try to create object me again, which is a person, but without, I don't want to specify my gender here. And let's see what it does. So it creates a person object using the new constructor, the optional constructor, but if I provide my gender, then it will use the new constructor, like the default one. Me again and again, funny name, and I can just use that one, and here it is. So it's using now the second constructor to build that. So it can be more complex, so you can have different kind of constructor if you want, or you can, if it's not needed, you will always use the default constructor. So in that case, it's difficult to get that if it's that function, if that, in that case, if it's using the first one or the second one, because both are very close. Here it has a default one, but when we are giving something, that constructor also should work. But in case if we want to use the default constructor, we have to provide key value pairs, not like just the value. We have to provide gender equal, and then it will use that constructor. But if we don't provide that, constructor cannot be used, so it's using that constructor. But for that example, we just can't see that, but that's actually happening beneath. So we need to create our own constructor for the resource param, because we want some field optional and some field mandatory, and we will do it in the next video. Actually, as you already know, you have learned that you can try create your own like a constructor, and you can check in the next video how I did that. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.